I'm soon going to do one of the most exciting recording sessions of my career. I'm going to be recording in Abbey Road Studios. Yes, the Abbey Road Studios. And I want to make sure that I'm not going to look like a complete idiot over there. And that is why today I'm at Tripal Studios in the Netherlands to learn the Neve 88 RS console, which is the same one that they have in Abbey Road. Now, let's get started. Huge thanks to Lewitt and Sonneball for making this project possible. Learning a console like the 88 RS in a single afternoon turned out to be quite intense. It's a serious console built for serious sessions. But with the help of Dirk, the owner of Tripal, the workflow really started to click. And the afternoon ended up being way more valuable than I expected. And once you understand the workflow, everything on this console starts to make sense. So, let's break it down. First of all, the 88 RS is an inline console, which means that every channel strip can handle two different signals. One for recording and one for monitoring. Okay, hold on. I want to explain this a little bit better because in the DAW era, the whole inline concept might be a little bit foreign to us. And in order to understand this, we gotta go back in time a little bit and think about a tape machine. Because in comparison with a DAW, a tape machine only does two things. It records audio and it plays back audio. And for all the other stuff, it needs a lot of routing around it. So let's say we've got a microphone here, which hypothetically is located in a recording room that has some stairs over here. And the signal from that microphone goes to the control room and goes into the console. And in the console, we are using the preamp to gain up the microphone, to give it phantom power, to do everything that we are expecting a preamp to do. And what we then want to do is send that signal out of the console into our recorder. For instance, a tape machine, but in our case, in Abbey Road, it's going to be a Pro Tools, of course. So we got a reel-to-reel tape machine here. And then we have our signal recorded. But we also want to be able to listen to our signal and listen to what we've recorded. We want to be able to play back from the tape machine. So from the tape machine, our signal goes back into the console so that we can listen to it. And this is the reason why every channel strip has two different signal paths. One of them is called the recording or channel path, which is the one that goes towards the tape machine or Pro Tools. And the other one is called the monitoring path, which is, as the name says, made for monitoring the signal. Now, let's take a look at the channel strips. And the channel strips, they are enormous. Let's start at the top. At the top are our multi-track buses. This actually comes from old school tape machines where you only had a limited amount of channels. This console was capable of 48 channels in total, but sometimes you only had 24 channels, and then you had to group certain things. And you can do this with these multi-track assign switches. So I can route channel 3 to multi-track channel 1, for instance, over here. You can make a big chaos and mess with all these routing options. And what I'm going to do is routing everything one-on-one. So channel 1 is going to channel 1, channel 2 is going to channel 2. Now underneath this multi-track assign, there's our preamp section, probably our most important section of the whole console for the session that we are going to do. And this really works like a normal preamp, but one interesting, actually quirky feature on here is how the phantom power works. So in order to turn the phantom power on, I have to press the gain button. And if I want to turn off the phantom power, I can pull it. Now, this might not sound like a big deal, but while adjusting the gain, I can easily push it in and give phantom power to a vintage ribbon microphone, which will basically make it explode. So this is one of the things I'm going to have to be very careful of in Abbey Road. Directly under the preamp are our filters. We have a high pass and a low pass filter. This is one of the things that I'm probably going to route within the recording path, because I sometimes really want to cut out some low frequencies on my recorded signal. Then we have dynamics in the console. We have a gate on the left, which is again really advanced. It has two different thresholds. We have one real threshold and one hysteresis. And the hysteresis basically, if I understood it correctly, is the point at which the gate closes. So if I set my threshold at -10 and my hysteresis at 5, then my gate will open at -10 and close at -15. And of course we can control our range and our release. And next to the gate we've got our dynamics. We have to make sure to enable this with the LC button, which means a limiter and compressor. And we can control it with a threshold, yeah, that's how big the console is, a makeup gain, a ratio, and a release. Guys, this thing is huge. And what is really cool, for stereo signals, we can also link two channels together by using the arrow. And these channels don't have to be like odd and even. You can even link an even channel to an odd channel and whatever. Underneath it is our aux section, which we're probably only going to use for a few reverbs and that's it. But a super cool feature on the 88RS that I just want to show you is that you can make two mono auxes into one stereo aux by pressing the button above it. And then our two auxes change in one aux and one panorama control. Oh, and now I have to set it, what? How did I? Yeah, still learning the console. Next up is our EQ. We've got a high band that we can switch between a bell filter and a shelf filter. We can make the Q factor a little bit higher. We got two mid bands and a low band. I mean, this is all pretty straightforward, but what I really like here, the button that I really like, is the P-DIN button. With this button, I'm immediately changing the patching of having the EQ after the compressor to having the EQ before the compressor. Like normally, I have to go to my patch bay and pull on a lot of cables, and now I can do this with one simple button. Then we have a red knob that I'm not gonna touch. I don't really know what it is. It's some kind of gain, but we're gonna leave it in the center. And we are going to enable the direct mode in Abbey Road, because direct literally means that it's routing to the multi-channel track corresponding to the channel number. And then when we get to a lower part of the channel strip, which my back really appreciates, we're having the small fader. How I'm going to use this console is in a swapped mode. And what that means is that this channel fader controls the signal going to Pro Tools. Now you might think, hey, you are already controlling the amount of signal with your preamp. But what we can do now is drive the preamp a little bit more and turn down the small fader to have a good signal in Pro Tools, but also have the drive of the preamp. Also, if we don't have enough gain for whatever reason, we can turn it up a little bit in here. And next to this small fader is a little Christmas tree of lights. And this is literally because we are figuring out how to configure the console for our session. What I'm doing over here is changing where the dynamics, the EQ, and all the goodness is in this channel strip. If all these lights are off, it is in our recording path. So we're recording this to Pro Tools and we cannot change it afterwards. If I enable all these lights, it will route all the analog goodness on our big fader, on our monitor fader. And this results in having a dry signal in Pro Tools, which we can later use. Because I'm going to be working on speakers that I don't know. So really making decisions is going to be very difficult. But on the other hand, we also want to capture some analog goodness. And we are planning to record both the dry signal and the signal coming out of the channel strip. Although we haven't really figured out how to do that yet. I'm gonna ask the people on Abbey Road how to do that. Could be that their console is differently configured to this one, but we couldn't figure out how to do it on this one. So now getting even lower on the channel strip, we've got our subgroup routing, our panning, our solo and cutting, and of course our fader, which in this console and most consoles is completely motorized and can do way more stuff than that I had time to learn today. Now, one of the things the engineers at Neve didn't keep in mind is that nowadays there's a big ass monitor in front of everybody. So we've just switched cameras around and I'm going to try to navigate around the center section of this console. Now, I want to say quickly that I'm not going to cover everything because it's way too much. But what is really cool about this console is that you can do everything, and for every little thing you want to do, there is a little setting. For instance, over here, we can change the way that our solo buttons behave. Right now, it's set at latch, which is the mode that we all know from our DAWs. So I can solo multiple channels and, you know, it's not really special. But I can also turn off latch, and right now I have to press and hold the solo button. Like this. I can also set it to this mode, the IL mode, which I think means only one is latching. So now I'm soloing this one. I want to press solo on the next channel. The first one gets unsoloed. Another cool thing that's on here are mute groups. There are 2 mute groups which we can select with this little switch over here. So I can set this channel to mute group 1 and this channel to mute group 2. And now I can cut A or B. Like that. These are little quality of life features on such a console. Now another section in here is the monitor controller, of course. You don't need an external monitor controller. It's all in the console. We can choose the different speakers in here. We've got a big knob for more or less. And we can select our source. And the really awesome thing here is we can also listen to our auxes. So we can listen what we are sending through our auxes. We can just hear that on our monitors. Really nice feature to have. And I wish I didn't do this session because now I want to have an 88RS. It's never gonna happen, but yeah. And now up here are way more features which I'm not gonna touch. I'm also not really going to have to touch them during my session. But one of the things I do want to show are the faders over here. So how this console is configured, that this thing has a few extra groups down here, which you can route with these little buttons down here on the channel strip. But it has also something that functions kinda like a VCA. Now let me show you this. So for instance, this fader is connected to my drum group. And what that means is that I can control my drum group, but not just on this fader, but if you look over there, you will see the actual faders move. And yeah, that's it. Again, this console is way more advanced than I can sum up in one video. If you want to see more about the 88RS console, leave a comment down below. Now, I quickly want to give a huge shout out to Dirk and Tripool Studio for giving me access to this console. I don't know where Dirk is, but yeah, huge thanks. And for all of you, thanks for watching. And the next video will be from, I can't believe that I'm saying this, Abbey Road. As always, thanks a lot for watching. Keep pushing and bye bye.